Well, in a special Democracy Day poll conducted in Nigeria, more than 50% of those asked identified power, fuel and electricity as the sector of the economy they'd most like to see the president address. Security and education were also near the top of the list. The same poll identified corruption and bad governance as the biggest challenges to democracy in Nigeria. Well, I'm joined in the studio by the Nigeria expert and political commentator Lagun Akinloye. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks for having me.
For coming in. I don't know if you listened to that speech by Mr. Buhari, now president, of course. He talked about the enormous challenges ahead. He mentioned insecurity, he talked about pervasive corruption, the fuel and power shortages. These, he said, were immediate concerns which needed to be tackled at once and head on. How much of a challenge will that be?
As you mentioned earlier, the next 100 days will be a big signpost in how he intends to form his government. I think the situation on ground is somewhat dire. I think he rode on the crest of hope. But the realities belie a situation where mostly every sector is at ground zero and people are in deep need of that change that he promised.
And of course, Mr. Buhari's on a practical level, as you correctly pointed out there, Mr. Buhari's APC party did not win any of the oil-producing states. So perhaps a first step would be to reach out to them.
People mentioned prior to the elections that the Niger Delta will be a well-known hotspot. There were angry comments coming out from the militants there who were threatening hellfire and brimstone if Buhari got there. The demographics of the region made it fully aware that Buhari himself, President Buhari now, as you may call him, wouldn't actually win that region. It was a well-known fact. Now, the violence that people thought would happen haven't happened so far. The threats have turned to nothing. I think if he offers that region a hand of brotherhood and tells them that, you know, we can run this government together, and you can be included, I see no reason why a deal can't be made to ensure that Nigeria carries on their oil production. And
well, it's not even so much the Niger Delta militants, it's actually just the political differences between the APC and the opposition PDP that control that region.
I mean, there might be an opposition, but it showed after the recent Nigerian Governors Forum election, which was last week, that all the governors of Nigeria were there, the incoming ones and the outgoing ones. And it seemed that they understood that right now it's not about which party, it's about saving Nigeria and moving it forward. So I truly believe that they could sheath their swords in order for the people's prosperity to be first and foremost.
And of course, one of the critical things General Buhari, well, he doesn't like being called General, President Buhari will need to do is clearly to diversify the economy, because that will help create jobs, that will help, bring sort of prices to the people, good price, lower prices and so on. And if he is seeking to diversify the Nigerian economy, particularly with sectors like agriculture, how important is it to revamp the economy of the north, which has been devastated, certainly parts of it, by the Boko Haram insurgency?
The Boko Haram insurgency has crippled economic activity in the north. Put that alongside the rapid smuggling that goes on. The north is in a very poor state in terms of the actual economic livelihood of the people there. So once the Boko Haram issue is contained, which I think it is right now, once he can prove to people that the area is safe for investment, the rest will follow. But there are many issues in terms of investment. To the credit of good luck, the non-oil economy grew by 7.3% last year, which is enough of an indication to let people know that other sectors are growing. The current, the newly elected head of the African Development Bank was the Nigerian Minister of Agriculture, and he has enhanced agriculture in the country.
Lagun Akinloye, the Nigeria expert and political commentator, thank you very much indeed.